this has been a U.S. team that looks confident, they look committed to the plan, and they all have a good understanding of what the principles are and how to apply that to the games to win.
As I'm watching this game in the first half, I really felt like the U.S. was having chance after chance, and you thought, man, if this team doesn't finish one of these chances, we could be headed towards a game, especially with Germany's history on both the women's side and the men's side. If you don't capitalize against the Germans, man, they're going to usually get it done against you and kind of burn you in that way. Sam, was there ever a moment in this game where you had that kind of concern that the U.S. might not be able to get over the hump as they eventually do in the 105th minute? And then maybe what is it that you think allows this team to do what they did also in the same again in the quarterfinal, kind of gut out this victory late, which is something we really hadn't seen over the last, 3 or 4 years for the U.S. women's national team?
Yeah, I actually think when we came out at halftime, Germany started building some momentum. I think it switched a little bit. Maybe it was our tired legs that started to come into play, but Germany was creating more chances. Jule Brand on that German team was dribbling through our midfield, getting in shots on goal, getting crosses in. And I did start to be like, is this starting to slip away from us? And I think that's where some substitutions started to come into play. We saw a little bit of a tactical change. Lynn Williams came on the field. Rose Lavelle came out. Crystal Dunn was really getting high up on that left side of the field. And I wasn't sure it was really working yet. It was really clicking in place. But I think this team is riding such a high from this tournament performance so far. They have this new coach in Emma Hayes who is inspiring so much confidence in them. They're making TikToks left and right. This team is having so much fun together that I think that love and that bond and that connection that they're creating off the field is giving them the confidence to try things and to have each other's backs. And scoring so late in the Japan game kind of gives you this confidence and this belief all together. We can do that again. And we see that happen again with this team. And so I think there's a lot of tangible things going well, a lot of tactics, a lot of great play from individual players. But I also think there's an intangible quality that Emma Hayes has really inspired in this team. And that's a confidence and a belief in each other to get the job done and to kind of gut it out even when not everything's going our way.
That confidence, I mean, it kind of feels like a throwback to 2008, 2012, kind of the U.S. women's national team of old. Do you sense that this team has kind of recaptured some of that? Specifically, what I mean is late game magic, because the U.S. would not always win pretty back in the day, but always late, there'd be somebody who made a play. And this team seems to have that in a way they haven't for a while.
Yeah, I agree with Sam, and I agree that Emma Hayes has kind of instilled this confidence in the squad, but also she's empowered them to just play with, calmness and to be cool and collected, even when times get really tough during a tournament like this. And I think you can see that within the play and within the game. You can see that they're continuing to stick to the plan regardless of how the game is going. And I think that's been really impressive, especially from this team that seems or feels from the outside looking in a little bit less experience than what we've seen in the past. And so that has been impressive to me, to kind of stick to the plan, to keep the principles aligned with, the tactics and everything that's expected of them, no matter what moment in the game. And we've seen them under pressure at times. We've seen them, create chances, but not be as clinical in front of goal. And so I think just having that confidence, like Sam was talking about, and continuing that throughout the match to have a complete game, that's why you see them successful in the end, and also scoring and making sure that they finish these games and there's opportunities by the game's end. So I think this has been really impressive from such a group that's so talented and has quality, but so young and inexperienced at this level.
Sam, what about Sophia Smith? How do we explain her turnaround? Not just from the World Cup, obviously, last year, which was a huge disappointment for her, but we can even go back to March, the CONCACAF W Gold Cup. She was coming off the bench in that tournament. She wasn't starting for this team. How do we go from a few months ago, her not being a starter, to her now being, maybe one of the best players in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge testament to Sophia's grittiness and her ability to stick that out, losing a starting spot, maybe even coming off a tournament where you didn't have the performance that the world and that you hoped that you would have, especially with the entire team didn't have the performance that we hoped that they would have. So for Sophia Smith to have earned her spot back, now she has 3 goals in the tournament. She's a part of this front three that is unstoppable. I think scoring the clutch goal takes such confidence and such belief in yourself, and also from your teammates to set you up in that moment. I think that Sophia is somebody who believes in herself. She knows what she's good at. She is still learning to adapt to different roles between club and country, and she's showing this tournament that she's capable of doing that and stepping up in the biggest moments. It makes me think also of Crystal Dunn, who wasn't starting for much of this year and now has put herself in a position to be undeniably on the field for this U.S. women's national team, playing both sides of the ball as a left back, even though she was named to the roster as a forward. These players have been through so much and so much adversity, and seeing them now succeed in the biggest moments is such a testament to their perseverance and their commitment to being the best.
What stands out to you most, Allie, about this front three? For me, honestly, it's the fitness. Like, late in these games, one, they're explosive, right from the jump. But the fact that, like, Trinity Rodman especially, who at some point is operating in a three, but it also at some points looks like she's a midfield, like a wide midfielder almost, and doing that really back and forth down the wings.
Right.
I mean, to me, when I see these players in the shape that they're in, the fact that they can do it over and over again, we've criticized Emma Hayes for not subbing a lot. But how could you take any of these three players off? And that's a real dilemma for her, you can see.
Yes, and for obviously a defender, especially an outside back, you want that forward or that midfielder who plays in front of you to track back and do that 360 defending, which is what you see Trinity Rodman do consistently. And that is something that is a dream for a defender, because not only can you double team, but in transition moments, when you win the ball back quickly, then she's an option because she's close enough to receive the ball. And so she's been brilliant. I think something that separates them from any other team that we've seen in this tournament is that they have such confidence on the ball. They want the ball. They want to get into different pockets. They're willing to try anything in order to create chances. And so that is what's been so valuable and attractive to see from them. And also they're interchangeable. And so I think their unpredictability has been really successful with the team. And I think there's someone that's always willing to do the hard work and get into these little pockets and move. The movement off the ball has been brilliant. So those few things have really been difficult to defend. And that is something that a lot of teams so far have yet to try to figure out or find answers for.
The front three getting a lot of the shine. Sophia Smith, obviously a hero with the goal. But if the goal doesn't stand up, then she's not a hero. And that comes down to this last-second save from Alyssa Naeher. I mean, I think, Sam, you roll your eyes because, one, it was incredible, but two, it's kind of what we've come to expect from Alyssa Naeher. She is now the definition of clutch in goal for the United States, isn't she, Sam?
I know. Rolling my eyes feels like it was the wrong thing to do, but I just am like, oh my God, Alyssa, how do you keep coming up like this? It is so incredible. The save was like a star jump save with her foot. Like, she is putting herself in these positions. She's not scared of anything. She comes up clutch in these huge moments. I mean, she must have ice in her veins. We joke she eats nails for breakfast. She listens to Iron Maiden on repeat. Like, she is just so cold-blooded in these huge moments, and I am so thankful that we have her back there. I think it's so rare that we get broken down, that any team can get through our back line, especially with Naomi Girma back there. But when they do, I have so much confidence in Alyssa to make the stop, to play out. She's cool, calm, and collected. We're really, really incredibly lucky to have her. I think we've only conceded one goal all tournament.
I think she's, obviously the World Cup year was a bit of a tough year for her, and I know she, went through ups and downs, and so it's nice to finally see the Alyssa Naeher that we've all known and that has been there for a long, long time, just come out of her shell. And she's so confident in the way she plays. And I think that has been a game changer for the U.S. women's national team, to have a goalkeeper who is confident, who's consistent, who's communicative, and who's really demanding everyone. And she could see the whole field. And so her vision has been great. Her distribution has been great. And then obviously her saves have been phenomenal to keep the U.S. women's national team at the level that they're at.
Plus, if it comes down to penalties, you've got an advantage there, because Alyssa Naeher can not only keep them out of the net, she can put them in the net as well from the penalty spot, as we've seen time and time again. Of course, it helps when you've got a great central defender in front of you. And there's no doubt about it, Alyssa Naeher has that in Naomi Girma. Of course, I want to get Sam's thoughts on Naomi Girma. I want to get Allie's thoughts on Naomi Girma. But how about Emma Hayes' thoughts on Naomi Girma? And they are simple. Quote, look, she's the best defender I've ever seen. Ever. Sam, it sounds like a bit of an exaggeration. But then those of us that watched the game today said, well, maybe she's not wrong. She certainly seems right now like the best defender in this tournament for my money. Would you agree with that, Sam?
Yes, I would agree with that. I think that not only does Naomi Girma have all of the tangible things that you need to succeed as a center back, she has great vision, she has great technique, she has passing range, she has all the physical things that you need. She's fast. Like, something we aren't even talking about because she's so good on the ball is how fast she is and how athletic she is. And then I think to top it all off, she has all of the intangible things that you need. She's a leader. She's poised. Everybody's calm when she has the ball. Even her interceptions, her slide tackles in the box, they're calm. They could be last-ditch efforts, but they're not panicked. They're not rushed. They're not sloppy. I think that her consistency of play, her leadership presence, and her skills on the ball are such a gift for this national team to have, considering her age, considering her experience level. She'll be on this team for years and years to come, and we are so lucky to have her. Like, we must protect her at all costs. Naomi Girma is so incredibly talented.
She's only 24 years old, Ali. Is best defender in the world. Is it too much too soon from her coach?
No, it's not too much too soon because she's performing at this level, which is the highest level, and with the national team and club, a week in and week out, she's been brilliant. Her timing and positioning are what stick out to me. Not only, does she have leadership qualities that are super valuable, and especially at her young age, to have that is pretty remarkable. But for me, it's the positioning, because every single time I think, oh gosh, here comes a chance. There's a transitional moment or a ball's played in behind. You see Naomi Girma just clean it up. And she's supporting her outside backs consistently. She's supporting her partnership either with Tierna and Emily Sonnet, which also is very difficult when you have to switch, mid-tournament. With a tournament like this, that partnership is key. And so for that to be so seamless, she's doing something right. And we see that, every single game. And credit to her. She's been brilliant, and also one of the main reasons why the U.S. women's national team is in this final.
And obviously she's just 24 years old, which is kind of the beginning of a player's prime, I would suggest. But at center back, I feel like that's pushed even later. You don't hit your prime till you're 27, 28. You're really reading the game. I mean, her ceiling here right now, if you think about what Naomi Girma could become, if Emma Hayes is already saying she's the best defender she's ever seen, I think that's a pretty high compliment. She did also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, when Lindsey Horan left the game, it was Naomi Girma that got the captain's armband at 24. Sam, what did you make of that?
It's not the first time that we've seen that. I think it's something that is obviously a huge honor. She's such a young player, but it shows the kind of respect that the other players on the field have, that Emma has for her. I know the fans all revere and adore her. I think it says a lot to give such a young player such a responsibility. But I think if anybody can do it, Naomi can. She's supported by all of her teammates. I think this sounds so cliche, but she is actually such a wonderful, nice person who is so universally loved by the team and so accepted by everybody. And I think that's who you want wearing that armband, is the person that anybody can trust and anybody can go to. She is obviously forging her own path. She is her own player, her own person, but she has so many qualities that remind me of Becky Sauerbrunn as a player and as a person who everybody will look to as like a North Star, a moral compass. So I'm just thrilled for Naomi. I think this has been a tournament that has really solidified her standing on this team and her standing as a player in this global game.
Boy, I thought center backs were supposed to be big, mean, ugly, and tough. Here we go on Naomi Girma, showing us that there's different ways to do it there. All right, what about the manager? Emma Hayes, of course, has come in and really turned this team upside down, turned the results upside down, got them in a gold medal final. Ali, how much credit should we be giving her for the turnaround that we've seen in this team since she took over?
I think a lot of credit. Obviously, she's, the players understand their roles and responsibilities. She's empowered a lot of the players. She's learned how to get the best out of each and every individual player, because not everyone's the same. And I think it's really, really difficult as a manager to do that and find success in that. And also, she's empowered each player to just bring their individual magic, which we haven't seen in a long time. And I think that's why they are playing with such freedom and focus and fun. And this is something that has been instilled in them since she's, been present. And I think there's so much credit to her, because she's a first-time coach at this level with the U.S. Women's National Team, and she, is entering into a final of a tournament, of one of the biggest tournaments. And so credit to her for, making sure that everyone's on the same page and, keeping this consistency and kind of instilling this fire underneath of the group that we haven't seen in many years.
You know what's impressive? I mean, she's done it in such short amount of time, 9 games only, and we've seen this team really kind of totally change what it's about. Sam, I wonder what the biggest difference that you're seeing under Emma Hayes is in this new era.
I agree with what Krieger said. I mean, I think that there is this energy, this youthfulness, and this freedom that we're seeing on the field from the players. I think I've been talking a lot on my own podcast about what are the hallmarks of an Emma Hayes team. And a lot of people who are really familiar with her are saying things like, really great in transition. It's the strength of the front three. And so I do think there's this kind of chemistry going on with what's happening right now between Emma Hayes' preferred style and who happens to be in incredible form in the primes of their careers. Our front three are doing so great. And is that because that's where they are in their careers? Is it partly because Emma is setting them up for success really well? I think there's just this awesome synergy happening between what Emma's looking for and what we are good at in the moment. So I think she deserves a ton of credit. I think there's a clear, good feeling going on around this team right now. And I think that Emma is a part of that. I see videos of her interacting with the players, and I read a lot into that. I think when you can joke around with the players and get to know them as people and they feel like they can talk to you, I think that that's a really good sign. And I think it's creating this great feeling of trust that is kind of visible to us from the outside.